Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Into the Hive Mind. Alright, I'm tired of waiting. We're just going to do it. We're going to try and do day 2 of LVO. I will just, again, give a caveat here. My entirety of day 2 was on stream. Round 5 is on Wargames Live, and the entire thing is on there. Go see it. It's incredible. I'll give a recap here, but honestly, watching the game is just a whole nother thing. I highly suggest you watch that first and then come back here and get my recap on it. But was an absolutely incredible game. Round 4 was also on Wargames Live, but it was on his Patreon stream. I've basically been holding off on this video on the hopes that I would get to watch that and then recap it. Unfortunately, it has not been posted, so I don't know if the data was corrupted or what, because Joe has uploaded future tournaments that he has done since LVO and has not uploaded the LVO ones. So not sure what happened there, but unfortunately I don't think my stream game is going to be posted, which is a bummer because it was an absolutely incredible one. And like I said, because it was on that stream, I tracked my score on there, and I only took 2 photos of that game. So we're basically going to do that entire game and try and do it by memory from here now that it's over a month later. I'm going to do my best. And then round 6 was also on stream. It was on the GW stream, which unfortunately, it is on there, but it's kind of hard because they bounce back and forth between my game and another game. So similarly, we're going to try and do that kind of from memory. Only portions of my game. They don't listen to the players talking, so it's basically the commentators taking their best guess as to what is happening. But once again, I kept track of the score on there, so I do not have it on my phone. So yeah, we're going to do this in a slightly different format where I'm just going to basically try and recap these games, mostly from memory. I do have some photos, but not nearly as many as my normal tournament battle reports. So this will probably be a quicker video. And then on that note, I also have a tournament that I went to a month later that I will be making another video for very shortly. And we can get back to that normal tournament report. But recapping, here we go. Let's look at, let's just review my list since it's been a little bit since day 1. So I brought Tyrant Assimilation Swarm to LVO. Assimilation Swarm got buffed to where you no longer need to control an objective and be on that objective with your harvester units to regen. So basically, I was just running all tough things that want to regen. Specifically infantry models that I can bring back. So because of that, my list is double Hive Tyrant. We got Hive Tyrant, Swarm Lord. The Hive Tyrant has the Instinctive Defense, which is the Fight First and Free Heroic enhancement, as long as he's within 6 of a Harvester unit. Absolutely huge. This is giving a 400-point unit fights first is incredible. Then I've got a Neuro Tyrant leading a squad of 6 Zoanthropes. Obviously, he's giving them +1 to hit, and he has the Biophagic Flow aura. Basically never came up, but I had 10 points. We got a Pyrovore to do Spore Mines, just for secondaries, but also to feed those Spore Mines as things that die, and then spend a CP because my Spore Mine died and turn my Spore Mine into a Tyrant Guard. It's super fun and good. We have a Haruspex, really good in Assimilation Swarm, can get a 4-up Feel No Pain while sitting on an objective. Lictor, because I need something to do secondaries, and it can infiltrate and prevent, some kind of super rush early against me. Psychophage, also really good in Assimilation Swarm as a harvester unit. 2 units of 3 Pyrovores. These guys are incredible. Being 6/1/1 twin linked in a meta full of T10 is actually really good. People underestimate it, but 6/1/1 twin linked with an average of 13 auto hits just does significant chip damage every time, and for their points, they are ridiculously durable. Especially when they get to bring guys back. They almost always require at least 250 points, 300 points worth of attacks to remove all at once, and if you don't do that, then they're just coming back. So, really great. I love the Pyrovores. Then I have a single Pyrovore that goes in outflank and does secondaries. 6 Raveners that can give me turn 1 secondaries because everything else is too slow to do it, or they can just go up if my opponent ever leaves their backfield undefended. So basically, they just force my opponent to leave stuff in their backfield, otherwise Raveners will show up there. 3 individual Ripper Swarms. Again, these guys are just harvester units, and they work the same as Spore Mines, where if they die, I get to bring, turn them into Tyrant Guard, and or get +1 to wound against whatever killed them. It's great. Then obviously the meat of the list, 2 units of 6 Tyrant Guard. These do go with the Hive Tyrant and the Swarm Lord. And a unit of 3 Venom Thropes. Now, these guys give stealth and cover, but the stealth really only goes to the Pyrovores. The Raveners are almost always outside of that bubble. But they do give cover to the Tyrant Guard, which is really strong. Because Tyrant Guard lost their 2-up armor save, this basically gives it back to them. Not that cover's hard to get, but honestly, my guys are out in the open all the time, so making sure that they at least have cover is definitely worth the 70 points. And yeah, 6 Zoanthropes again goes with the Neuro Tyrant. This is my only shooting and my only anti-tank, but they're great. And honestly, they give a 6-up invuln, but to guys within 6, which definitely came up in my game 5, but I honestly forgot about it because it almost never comes up in most games. But yeah, they technically do that, but I never once at LVO actually rolled a unit with a 6-up invuln, so that's fun. All right, so day 2, I am 3-0. Going into round 4, I am playing someone that I know very well, Jordan Gledhill. If none of you guys know him, he is an incredible person. I've actually only played against him once, but I see him all the time. He is a guy with an incredible 3D printer, and he 3D prints basically everything, but specifically all of these crazy large giant demons. He just loves to print all these, different versions of them. So because of that, Jordan is playing a Slaanesh detachment with all of these crazy, cool Keeper of Secret models that are all these custom 3D prints, and they look phenomenal. This is a list that honestly he's been playing forever, not just and now it's really good. So he's very familiar with the playstyle, and honestly, that is why his list name is I was doing this before it was cool, or at least that's one of the list names, and that is absolutely true. I've seen him play this list multiple times at multiple different events, and now it's just actually really good. So here he is, 3-0 at LVO with pure Slaanesh demons, and yeah, this list is disgusting. We've got a Keeper of Secrets with the Avatar Perfection Enhancement, which I believe allows him to re-roll Advance and Charge as long as it doesn't have a friendly within 6. The next Keeper of Secrets has the Soul Glutton Enhancement, which is heal D3 every time it kills something. I think it's something like that. Then we got a third Keeper of Secrets. And then, that's not enough. So we also have Shalaxi. So basically 4 Keeper of Secrets, except Shalaxi might as well be 2 Keepers because she's ridiculous. And then we have a single Beast of Nurgle and a Seeker Chariot because something has to do secondaries. And the Beast of Nurgle sits on the home objective. And then we have, oh, look at that, triple Slaanesh Soul Grinders. Yeah, so looking at this list, there is a total of 9 models in the entire army. And guess what mission we're playing on round 4? It is Purge the Foe. So, kill more. And here I am playing an army that literally is designed to kill my little stuff to heal my big stuff. And I'm playing against 9 models, all of which are ridiculously difficult to kill. Maybe aside from, the Seeker Chariot. So this is an uphill battle. And on top of that, the night, going into this event, my teammate Cody Drew was asking me, hey, Matt, what list are you actually really worried about? What is just an auto loss for you? And I told him Slaanesh demons. And then I had to clarify. I'm like, okay, not normal Slaanesh demons, but if it's got 2 keepers, I really struggle with that. And actually before LVO, I did a TTS game playing against myself, just against all the lists that I knew would be terrible matchups. And I did almost point for point this list. I didn't have Shalaxi, but it was triple Keeper, triple Soul Grinder, and then I did a unit of Fiends and a unit of Demonettes with the Mirror to pass wounds off to. And I'll just say that at least in that TTS practice game against myself, I the demons won handily. It was like 94 to 58. It was not really close, and that's because I just don't have the damage really to kill keepers, and they normally don't have the damage to kill me except for the soul grinders. But as soon as you get full rerolls, then they absolutely do just crush me. So this is a terrible matchup, and then on top of that, it is the worst mission for Tyranids, because any of my Spore Mines just give up 4 points or 8 points because I'm probably not killing any of his stuff. So I fail to kill something, and then he kills a Spore Mine and gets kill more. Is the reality that I was staring down here. And on top of that, I'm not exactly a fast army to be able to steal primary from him and take advantage of the fact that he's only got 9 models. I'm just not fast enough to really contest the objectives from him. So this is just a horrendous matchup and a horrendous mission. And then on top of that, I'm playing a Jordan who, again, is a guy that I know, and I know he's a good player. I'm not going to say he's one of the best players, but he is definitely a very solid player. And on top of that, he knows me. And because he knows me, he knows to take me seriously. And because this is the first game of round 2, we knew that we were going to be playing each other the night before. So one of the advantages of my list is that nobody has seen it before. So they, pairings go up, and you have 10 minutes to figure out what my list does, and no one has seen Assimilation Swarm, no one has seen all these Tyrant Guard, no one has seen all these Pyrovores. You just don't know what this list does. Well, for this matchup, Jordan has time to figure out what my list does, and he knows that to take it seriously, and actually that he needs to take a look at it and figure out what it does, because he knows, we've played each other before, he knows I'm a good player. He's not just going to look and see like, okay, well, this is some weird off-the-wall Tyranid bullshit. He must have just gotten lucky and kind of discount it. So honestly, going into this, and Jordan agreed, we were kind of joking before the game that I had maybe a 10% chance to win this game. It was just a ridiculous uphill battle, specifically because of the mission was just the icing on the cake. But anyways, let's get into it. Let's take a look at the deployment, and we can take, maybe zoom in and take a look at his gorgeous printed models. All right, yeah, so look at that. Obviously, crazy cool conversions. This is the end of his turn 1. He did get first turn, which is probably good. I don't think I wanted first turn, because all I would do is walk forward and then get punched in the face. So he got first turn and basically ran towards me. Essentially, he had an 8-inch charge to get to the Lictor, is the one thing that I gave him. But I made sure that everything stayed outside of a 4-inch pile-in from the Lictor. So if he did charge there, he wouldn't be able to pile into anything else. And that's kind of the only thing I did deployment-wise, other than he deployed really heavily on the bottom right. And so because of that, I actually just deployed everything. I shifted my entire army. Normally I deploy everything right in the center. But with this, I knew I needed to basically isolate one keeper at a time. And the longer I could do that, the better chance I had. So obviously I have way more drops than him. So I was just dropping nonsense to see where he went. And he heavily deployed everything in the bottom right. So because of that, I shifted the vast bulk of my army up to the top left. And then Jordan got the role for go first. And he basically advanced towards the center and basically had one keeper go over and attempt an 8-inch charge into the Lictor. He did fail it. And then obviously he pushed down and fully claimed his expansion objective. So that is completely his. Unfortunately, like I said, I have this picture and one other one is the only ones that I have for this entire game. So let's try and do this by memory. He pushes forward like this, and I'm analyzing what I have to do. Like I said, I know I basically have to kill a keeper every turn, and if I can, kill 2, which is a huge ask. Yeah. So looking at this, we've got, I believe Shalaxi is the one that is in the back right. And then it's just Keeper on the top left objective, Keeper on the center objective, and then double Soul Grinder Keeper in the bottom right, with Shalaxi as kind of a backup, but Shalaxi is obviously very fast. He just does not want... I do have 6 Zoes, and he did not want Shalaxi to be shot by those because Shalaxi is not -1 to be hit. So he basically said, yeah, you can shoot a Keeper, but I have the -1 to hit. And yeah. So on my turn 1, I'm looking at this one Keeper that is in the top left, facing down the vast bulk of my army. And actually, I think this must have been taken halfway through his turn, because I'm pretty sure he actually did make the charge and killed the Lictor. And I just had my entire army right in his face to kill that one Keeper. And then I had the 6 Zoes able to shoot the Keeper in the middle. So if I get really, really lucky, I maybe kill 2 Keepers this turn, but that depends on 6 Zoes somehow killing a Keeper. Spoiler alert, that did not happen. However, I absolutely did kill the Keeper in the top left. So I was able to charge the Keeper in the top left with Swarmlord and his Tyrant Guard, as well as 6 Raveners. And with that, because it was bottom of 1, I don't think he had the CP to interrupt. Yeah, and actually, I don't think it even mattered. I think Swarmlord one-shot the Keeper. I say one-shot. I shot it with 6 Pyrovores first. The first Pyrovores put like 4 wounds on it. The second set of Pyrovores put 5 more. So I think it was down to like 11 wounds. And then Swarmlord did his thing. I think he did 7 wounds to her, and Jordan just failed 6 of the 7 4-up invulns is what I'm remembering. Because, yeah, Swarmlord basically just killed her by himself. I do remember I didn't even make attacks with the Raveners. So, yeah, and then he had a Feel No Pain, but it wasn't enough because it took 18 damage, and I think she had 11 left after the Pyrovores shot her. So, yeah, even with the Feel No Pains, wasn't enough, and Keeper number 1 down. The Zoes shot the Keeper in the center, and I believe I did 3 wounds, 2 of which went through for a total of like 8 damage, but then Feel No Pain reduced it to 5, something like that. It was some chip damage, but it was nothing majorly significant on the Keeper in the center. And yeah, but what that meant is we both got a kill for turn 1. He absolutely did make that charge because he got a kill. He killed the Lictor turn 1. And I think that's why he went for it, is because we were playing Purge the Foe. Otherwise, you know, he might not have extended so far just to get a kill. I don't think he expected me to be able to kill the Keeper. And to be fair, with 4-up invulns being swingy, if he had rolled 6 out of 7 successes instead, then obviously we're in a whole different game, and that Keeper is still alive with like 8 wounds left. Maybe has the CP to interrupt. He wasn't a Vectora, but maybe has the CP to interrupt and kills off all of the Raveners. And then it's Jordan's turn again, and Swarmlord's now in trouble. But instead, I did kill the Keeper, and that was really nice. So we're off to a great start. Turn 1 Keeper down. All right, so now here's where it gets tricky. Because now we're playing, at least the entirety of turn 2 is going to have to be completely by memory from 6 weeks ago. So sorry, guys. But looking at the board state, essentially what ends up happening is I know that Keeper in the center absolutely charges right on in, gets in combat with the Zoanthropes and the Psychophage, and I believe I heroically intervene with the Fights First Hive Tyrant. I'm just trying to think if another Keeper ends up getting involved turn 2. I believe the one on the bottom right, I know it eventually comes down around the bottom. I just don't know if it did anything turn 2. I believe what ended up happening is it came forward up to the wall of that ruin right there, and then attempted a charge on the Psychophage, where if it makes it, it'll then... The nice thing about the Slanesh Demons is you get to roll your charge and see if you would make it, and only if you make it, spend the CP to then go through the wall. I believe it would have been like an 8-inch charge, and I think he failed that, is what ended up happening. Even with a CP reroll. So I think I end up only facing down one keeper this turn, plus taking some shots from some Soul Grinders. I know Shalaxi definitely pushed up the center as well. I don't think she made it into combat or anything like that. Although I think I did push forward a little bit, not a lot. But I'm pretty sure only the keeper that was in the center of the table is the one that made it in. And he had a decent chance of getting a second keeper into combat with me through the wall, but he failed that charge. So with chip damage, I know he killed, I think, 3 of my Zoanthropes with shooting from the Soul Grinders. And he has one Soul Grinder in Deep Strike that I believe came in right at the center of the table. So Shalaxi pushed up into the center objective, and a Soul Grinder Deep Struck right behind it. And then the Soul Grinder on the bottom right pushed up to get the same lane. And so 2 Soul Grinders shot at the Zoanthropes, and I believe killed 3 of them. Maybe 4, and I brought 1 back. But something like that. I definitely took damage on the Zoanthropes. Meanwhile, the 1 Soul Grinder on the bottom right remained on its objective. And he has a Beast of Nurgle on his home and a Chariot, I think, also in Deep Strike. So the Keeper of Secrets in the center of the table ends up going in, charges. I think actually, because I lost some Zoanthropes from shooting, was not able to charge the Zoanthropes, and instead elected to just charge the Hive Tyrant with Tyrant Guard, because I was going to be able to heroically intervene in fights first anyways, so just charged straight into there. And then ended up getting the full rerolls because, and I'm trying to remember if he tried to precision out my Hive Tyrant. I don't believe he did. Not that turn. So I end up doing a significant amount of damage to it. I think I do 12 and put it down to 8 before it got to swing. I was not enough to degrade it, but I did do a significant amount of damage to it. I guess I had chipped it before with Zoanthropes, but by the time it got to swing, it was not degraded, but it was definitely below half. And then it swung and it killed 4 of my Tyrant Guard, I believe, maybe 5. But because it's flat 3 damage, and I'm 4 wound models with a 6-up Feel No Pain, I'm pretty sure it killed 4 of my Tyrant Guard. So with that breakpoint, it was actually pretty nice for me. Tyrant Guard are the one thing that he really struggles to kill. Because I think he's wounding me on 4s with his sword and 5s with his claws. He was re-rolling everything, but only killed 4 Tyrant Guard, and I'm left in a pretty nice position because I once again have only a single keeper in front of me for my entire army to jump on, and I still haven't really taken any significant damage. I end up regenerating a Zoanthrope, I regenerate a Tyrant Guard, and then what else I do is I continue just shifting my entire army into the top right, where I'm basically hugging the top right corner and basically just running away from his entire army, leaving it where I'm going to have Shalaxi in the center is what's going to be able to hit me next, and the 1 keeper that's in the bottom right can absolutely go and kill my Pyrovore on my home objective, or try and finish off some Zoanthropes, but that's really all that's left for it to charge. Everything else kind of ran away, other than the fight's first Hive Tyrant is obviously still around because he's stuck in combat, but I want him to finish off that keeper. And so that's what I do. My turn 2 is the Pyrovores advance forward to get in range of the Hive Tyrant and then shoot at the keeper because it's a monster in combat. And I think chipped her down to 3 wounds left, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that my fight's first Hive Tyrant can do 3 wounds to a keeper. And then my Zoanthropes shot at Shalaxi, did like 4 wounds, I think. So, you know, a little bit of chippies, but nothing serious. And I believe I picked up the Raveners. Yeah, I picked up the Raveners, and they attempted a 9-inch charge on his Beast of Nurgle, but failed the charge. And that was the extent of turn 2. I did not charge anything. I just remained in combat with my Fight's First unit, and the Hive Tyrant did indeed finish off the Keeper. I don't believe... They don't have a Fight in Death, right? Sorry, one sec. Okay. Yeah, no. I didn't think they did, but just double-checked. They do not have a Fight on Death or anything like that. So I did not lose anything in my turn. I did manage to finish off that. So we're actually doing great right now. We have 2 Keepers down and have basically only lost... I was able to heal a Tyrant Guard after killing. So I think I've only down to losing 3 Tyrant Guard and 3 Zoanthropes and a Lictor at this point, and I've killed 2 Keepers. So if we can keep this up, we're doing great. The bad thing is that Jordan is up ridiculously on points, because he has the entire board. He was drawing great secondaries, and I was not. I was much more focused on just killing Keepers rather than doing secondaries, because if I tried to move out to do anything, they would just die. So I was really trying to just keep my army all as one big ball, taking on 1 Keeper at a time, and so far it was working, but I was losing points massively. And I believe we then get into turn 3. I think that might be where my other picture is. Yeah, so I believe this is actually the end of my turn 3, but it gives us a good enough idea of what Jordan is doing during his turn 3. So essentially, Jordan knows that he's got to keep me pinned, he's got to do damage, he has to hit me with more than just 1 Keeper at a time, because I do win that war. So he kind of pushes in with everything that he can. He has his Soul Grinder that was at the bottom right, ends up poking out and tries to shoot the Raveners that had failed their 9-inch charge onto his home field. He manages to kill 1. But then the Soul Grinder that was in the center ends up going up to the top center and charges my Haruspex. It does pretty well, but I do pop my 4-up Feel No Pain on the Haruspex, and because of that, I think he did something like 15 damage to me. But after the 4-up Feel No Pain, I was alive with 4 or 5 wounds left, and then I got to heal, and then Swarmlord joined in. Important side note, actually, Swarmlord did not join his Tyrant Guard for this combat, because I did not want to be T8. Being T10 against Slaanesh is actually really good, because all of the Keepers are Strength 9 or 6. So being T10 instead of 8 means that he'd be wounding Swarmlord on 5s instead of 3s. And so Swarmlord actually was not with his Tyrant Guard this game, and that meant he was able to just go forward and help out the Haruspex with that Soul Grinder. But on Jordan's turn 3, he also deep struck his Chariot into the center and managed to make a 9-inch charge, I believe just into a Ripper Swarm, but we are playing Purge the Foe, so that just gives him his kill more kind of thing. So he's doing great on that. Like I said, he's super ahead on points right now. I think at the end of turn 3, what I'm remembering is the score was 24 to like 60 something. I know he was at the end of turn 3, he was up by 42 points. It was just something absolutely insane. So yeah. Anyways, he also manages to charge Shalaxi into my Fight's First Hive Tyrant. Looks like I do have 5 Tyrant Guards still left alive in there, and it looks like I still have a Zoanthrope or 2 with the Neuro Tyrant. So basically the Keeper that was on the bottom ruin does end up going around. He doesn't even bother going through the wall because he's got ridiculous movement. So he goes around the wall and then charges into my Zoanthropes to finish those off. And Shalaxi charges into my Hive Tyrant. And Shalaxi has precision. And so he attempted to precision out my Hive Tyrant. He has 6 wounds, or 6 attacks, and I believe does the full 6 wounds. He did throw the pincers into the Tyrant Guard, and he didn't spend the CP to give all of her attacks precision, so just had precision with the spear. But 6 attacks with the spear, strength 14, re-rolling wounds, so it was 5 or 6 wounds. I think it was all 6, but I basically made 4 of my 6 4-up invulns, and I think that was with a CP. And so he goes to roll damage. It's 2d6 plus 4, and I think he rolls a 12 on his 2d6 plus 4. So he rolls an 8 on his 2d6, but I do get a 5-up Feel No Pain because of my Tyrant Guard, and I end up taking 7 damage, and I live on 3. So Shalaxi goes for the precision and does not kill the Hive Tyrant. What that means is, and like I did get to fight first, but I don't think I even brought Shalaxi down to half because he subtracted my attack from me, popped a CP to be -1 to hit, all of that kind of thing. But yes, the important thing is Shalaxi tried to precision out the Hive Tyrant and failed. So on Jordan's turn 3, it was Soul Grinder hits Haruspex. I pop 4-up Feel No Pain and don't die. Shalaxi precisions out my Hive Tyrant, and because of 5-up Feel No Pain and CP rerolling a invuln save, I live on 3. And because he didn't spend the CP to precision with the claws end up going into some Tyrant Guard, and my Hive Tyrant gets to live on 3. Or I might have even been 1. But either way, the Hive Tyrant lived, and that was absolutely huge. And then on top of that, the other Keeper just kind of whiffed into the Zoanthropes, and I think only killed 2 of them. So that was not great. Either he whiffed or I rolled a shitload of 4-up invulns. I think actually I just rolled a shitload of 4-up invulns. The dice were very kind to me this game, and that is great because, again, the mission and matchup were not. So at least I had the dice on my side, and they definitely were on my side. We were kind of joking about it. Again, I had a 10% chance of winning this matchup, and then we're like, but what if the dice said no? Anyways, so that was his turn 3. He fired. He also obviously was shooting at me with his Soul Grinders. I don't remember them doing a whole lot. They might have killed some Tyrant Guard from Swarmlord's unattached squad, but then obviously I'm bringing 1 back. So yeah, it's my turn. Another important thing here, if you notice, my 6 Pyrovores are in the bottom, and they are still not tagged. So they are still able to continue shooting, and all of his stuff, except the Chariot. So I cannot shoot the Chariot in combat, but all of his Keepers, I get to just continue chipping away at. So now it's my turn, and I get to fire 6 Pyrovores plus a Psychophage plus a Neurotyrant Flamer all into Shalaxi. So that was super fun. And I don't remember which Keeper. One of these Keepers I got +1 to wound on early on from killing a Ripper. So that was pretty funny. And helped because suddenly the Pyrovores are wounding on 4s re-rolling. I do believe it was actually this Keeper in the bottom. Yeah, because it charged the Zoanthropes, but the Ripper was there as well. And I think he had to shoot and kill the Ripper in shooting in order to make the charge into the Zoes. So he did that, and I got +1 to wound on it. So I believe that Keeper, those Pyrovores, the ones that could, not all of them could get in range, but the ones that could shot her because they were wounding on 4s, and the rest shot Shalaxi. And yeah, like I said, Swarmlord and the Haruspex end up finishing off the Soul Grinder in the top center. That was also really lucky because it just comes down to 4-up invulns, and Jordan was consistently rolling 1 or 2 below average on every single one of his 4-up invulns, which makes it really nice for me, obviously. And then I charged my Tyrant Guard into the Chariot down below. I think I leave it alive on like 1 or 2. So this is kind of the state of the board at the end of turn 3. I have not killed Shalaxi, but I believe after all the Flamers and everything, and punching. I think Shalaxi is down to like 4 or 5. The other keeper is also down to like 2. That's a 2 on the wound counter next to her. So I'm doing significant damage. He does still have Soul Grinder on the bottom right, Soul Grinder in the center, and he has the Raveners did actually go and kill his Beast of Nurgle turn 3. So they failed their charge turn 2, but now they they move 10. It was a 1-inch charge, and they do manage to kill the Beast of Nurgle. So I think I've stolen his home, but he still has the center and the bottom right. And so he's still scoring some points, but I have basically decimated his army and actually not taken a whole lot of losses myself. But then we go into top of 4, and if that gives you an idea of how sketchy this game is, again, he was ahead by like 40. I think he was ahead by 46 is what I remember. So actually, this might have even been his turn 3, because I remember going into turn 4, he had like 2 models left. Or no, that's what it was. At the end of his turn 4, I do end up killing Shalaxi and the other keeper. Because he ends up falling back with the keeper to get fights first again. Because it's just going to charge into some Pyrovores, or the Zoes, but I overwatch it, and I managed to take off those last 2 wounds off of her. So I believe she dies in Overwatch, and then my Hive Tyrant with fights first finishes off Shalaxi. The Tyrant Guard finish off the Chariot, and so he is left with simply 2 Soul Grinders, but he's ahead by 46, 50 points going into my turn 4. So then on my turn 4, I finish off Shalaxi then, but I do remember the Haruspex and Swarmlord went after the Soul Grinder. The Haruspex unfortunately failed like his 4-inch charge, which was a bummer. But Swarmlord did make it in. He does not kill it, and that ends up getting a little dicey. But yes, actually, I know that I do kill Shalaxi and the other keeper by turn 3, because I remember going into turn 4 and all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, we're playing kill more. He has 2 models left for these 2 turns. So that means I have to kill a Soul Grinder turn 4 and I have to kill a Soul Grinder turn 5 in order to get kill. And that is really, really bad, because I'm obviously not going to get kill more and I'm down by 40. So I really have to pull some crazy secondaries. I absolutely have to have hold more every turn, which at least that's easy because I have my home again, the top left, and his home. So I'm going to have hold more every turn. But I don't know if I'm going to get kill anymore. And what Jordan ends up trying to do is... so Swarmlord charges the Soul Grinder, doesn't kill the Soul Grinder. The Haruspex fails the charge. So we go into Jordan's turn 4. And again, he's up by over 40 points. But all he has is 2 models. He does get hold, obviously, but he doesn't hold more. All he has to do is kill a unit, and he probably gets kill more. And if he does that, and I don't kill him, he automatically wins, no matter what happens. So he basically has his Soul Grinder on the center objective, looking at my Raveners that have just killed his Beast of Nurgle on his home objective. And he's like, well, I have fallback and charge. So I'm going to fall back from Swarmlord and then charge those Raveners. And if I make that charge and kill them, I win the game. And like, regardless of what I do on my turn 4, it doesn't matter. I'm too far behind on points. Even though I've completely decimated him and I actually haven't lost a ton of stuff. That's how unfavorable this matchup with this mission is, and how far ahead on points he is. So what he ends up doing is he falls back from Swarmlord. The other Soul Grinder, not wanting to make the charge harder, elects not to shoot at the Raveners, because if he makes the charge, they're dead. I think there's 3 Raveners left at this point. So all he wants to do is just make that charge and kill him, and he wins the game. However, he falls back from Swarmlord, and then he goes to spend the CP to charge through the walls into the Raveners, and I'm like, hey, actually, you can't charge through the walls because Swarmlord has the Vect aura, and you only have 1 CP. So his Soul Grinder actually does not fit between that gap. And because of that, he cannot charge the Raveners, again, because of Vect, and he only had 1 CP. So because of that, we allow him to walk it back a little bit. He does end up firing at the Raveners, but I think 1 lives, and then he punches Swarmlord. I do think he kills Swarmlord, so he gets the kill, but he's now sitting there right in front of me, and my entire army is able to jump and kill his guy. So I at least get kill. I do not get kill more. But I get kill, so I have my 4 points for that. I got my hold more, and I don't remember what my secondaries were, but they were, I had the entire table and I had tons of guys ready to do things. So I think actually I got behind enemy lines, which was really funny because I had the 1 Ravener back there, which I just auto-passed leadership on, and then I threw a Spore Mine back there, or maybe I think actually I already had a Spore Mine back there. Either way, it was kind of funny because it was just a nail in the coffin about the Raveners, him not being able to charge them. I know that they were at least involved in getting me a secondary back there. And then we got turn 5, and Jordan, I forget what he drew, but it came down to something else again where essentially it was the Soul Grinder had a choice. Either he could sit there and hide, and I would need to draw 6 points worth of secondaries to win the game, or he could try and kill my Hive Tyrant and get the kill. And if he killed the Tyrant Guard and the Hive Tyrant, then he would get kill and kill more, and he would win by 2 no matter, I would have to get a 10-point secondary. So his options were wait and hope that even though I have entire board control, I somehow don't get 6 points on secondaries, or go for the kill, and if he kills the Hive Tyrant and Tyrant Guard, then he wins by 2. So he elects to go for that, and he does manage to kill the Tyrant Guard, but he does not kill the Hive Tyrant. I believe that at that point I had 4 Tyrant Guard. He killed 1 in shooting and then killed 3 in combat and wounded the Hive Tyrant. But even though my Hive Tyrant was at 3 after Shalaxi, I did have multiple turns to heal it back. So I think he was up to 7. And he was unable to kill the Hive Tyrant. So because of that, I was able to then kill his Soul Grinder on my turn 5, get my kill, and then I still needed 6 points in secondaries, but I think I got 8. So I ended up winning that game by 2 points. Crazy game. Yeah, so I wish, Joe, if you somehow see this and you have the footage and are able to upload it, I still would absolutely love to get this game, honestly, in one of my top 5 games of all time. So I wish we had the footage for it. I hope it's out there somewhere. I'd love to see it. But fantastic game. I do somehow pull out a win. Like I said, the dice were actually very kind to me this game. I was rolling consistently above average. Jordan was rolling just slightly below average on every single one of his saves, and that is fantastic for me. Obviously, that adds up really quick. So, fantastic game with Jordan. I believe he ends up going 4-2. He loses one more game after this one, but wins his third one. So, yeah, well done, Jordan. Awesome army. Always a pleasure to play. And good luck with Slaanesh Demons going forward. Honestly, dude, they're fantastic. All right, so now I am 4-0 at LVO. Feeling fantastic. Again, this is my 12th LVO, and the previous 11 I have gone 4-2 at.
So as long as I don't fuck this up and I win one of my next 2 games, I will have broken the curse of going 4-2 at every single LVO I've ever gone to. So I'm feeling fantastic. And the fact that I was able to pull a win in that game, I'm just over the moon.
Feeling absolutely incredible. And honestly feeling kind of unstoppable, which is just something I basically never feel at tournaments. Every game is kind of an uphill battle normally with the kind of lists that I play. But right now, yeah, literally feeling unstoppable, and it's awesome. But my next opponent, Hans Lieber, fantastic opponent. Again, this game, we do have the full footage for War Games Live LVO 2025 Game 5. Absolutely incredible game. Again, please go watch it. Support Joe. He's fantastic. Love everything he does. But yes, go watch this game because it's absolutely incredible, and the chat goes ballistic over this game. So please go watch that now and then come back here. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. But yeah, so anyways, Hans is playing Death Guard, and he has obviously the Putrefier with his super grenades. He's got a Blight Spawn. I believe this guy has the Fights First enhancement, but I'm not seeing enhancements in this list. So I know his Death Guard. I know his Plague Marines had Fights First, so I'm pretty sure it was the Blight Spawn that had that, or the Putrefier. I mean, one of these guys has a Fights First enhancement. I know that for sure. He has Mortarion. I did not realize Mortarion's only 300 points. That's crazy. Then 10 Plague Marines. They go in the Rhino. He's got 2 units of 10 Death Guard Cultists, followed by a Predator, 2 Predators, sorry, with las cannons and the autocannon, and then a triple fetid bloat drone, double mower, 1 plague spitter, and then a double plague burst crawler. So pretty tank heavy. He's got double plague burst crawler, double predator, and triple bloat drones. And then he is allied in a brigand as well. So I have 0 pictures of this game, but again, the entirety of it is up on War Games Live. So I'm just going to do a brief synopsis of this game, because I have no pictures to even go over it anyways. So essentially, Hans ends up getting the first turn. And the big thing that happens here is his Plague Burst Crawlers fire their indirect mortars. He's got 2 of them, and they manage to pick up my Pyrovore. And that is huge. Because A, he had overwhelming force, so he just got a kill on an objective, which was my fault for putting the Pyrovore on the objective on the first place, but I really didn't think he was in range of the Venom Thropes, so, I mean, I guess he has, indirect and cover anyways, but, and Morty ignores modifiers, but whatever. I tried doing my defenses, and it didn't matter. The PVCs managed to kill the Pyrovore, which I don't think happens on average, at least not from 2 of them, but he does manage to kill it, and then I think he is able to get line of sight with 1 Predator, kills a Tyrant Guard, but I just bring it back. The other big thing, though, is he manages to get one of his bloat drones, pushes forward pretty far with some cultists, and he sticks his objective. We're playing Ritual. He creates some objectives with cultists, and he basically just solidifies his presence just behind the center of the table. So he pushes up and still is hyper defensive, but grabs just a really defensible position, and the Brigand is in outflank. Next thing that happens, my turn 1, I draw Area Denial. And going back and looking at the footage here, I think I actually messed up. but didn't know it at the time. I draw Area Denial, and basically, because my Pyrovore is dead, I can't put a Spore Mine in the center, so I have to do it with Raveners. LVO did play the annoying thing where you can be 1.1 away from a wall and can't be charged by anything larger than a 25 mil base. So he had cultists behind the wall. They had just created an objective, and they were right behind a wall off of the center objective. And my Raveners went there to get Area Denial, and they were like 6 inches away from these cultists. And, playing WTC rules, would be able to charge them and would have just mulched all of them. But because we're playing the other way, I had no way of physically charging these cultists. So my Raveners just got to sit in the center and score Area Denial. Looking back at the video, those cultists were definitely within 6. So it should have been a small Area Denial, but neither one of us caught it at the time. So I did score a 5-point Area Denial when I probably should have only scored a 2. But again, those cultists were behind a wall. Neither one of us caught it at the time. Just only watching the playback later, because then he ends up drawing Area Denial and he picks up the wall and measures, and there's a cultist within 6 inches. And I don't think he ever moved him. So anyways, that was just something that I noticed on the playback, but mistakes happen all the time. Speaking of which, massive mistake that chat just absolutely goes ballistic about, but then I find really funny because they didn't notice that, I shouldn't have scored a big Area Denial turn 1. But what did happen is he ends up charging his Plague Burst Crawler into my Pyrovores, and after shooting at them with Plague Burst Crawlers, and these Pyrovores are currently doing the Sabotage action, and I heroically intervene with my Lictor, and the Lictor has fights first, and he manages to actually kill the Blight Drone, and I think I'd also fired Pyrovores at it. So it only had, I think, 5 wounds left. And so the Lictor had to get 3 through, and he actually does, which was great. But he kills the Bloat Drone. But Hans ends up rolling a 6. He explodes to do D3 mortals, rolls a 5, and my Pyrovore had 3 wounds left and dies. And because of that, I fail my Sabotage action. So that was just hyper unfortunate, and then extra unfortunate because Bloat Drones only explode for 1, and chat went apeshit about it. It's fine. Mistakes happen. I don't blame him for thinking they exploded for D3. Obviously I didn't catch it either. But yes, Bloat Drones only explode for 1. However, Hans exploded his for D3, rolled the 5, killed the Pyrovore, stopped my Sabotage. None of that should have happened, even just statistically, and then obviously it shouldn't have happened because the rule was wrong. But what that meant is I did not get my Sabotage, and then on top of that, I had to hold on to it for another turn and decide, and I think I end up pitching it for a CP at the beginning of my turn. But anyways, chat was going off about it, saying that it changed the whole game, and it's fine, guys. Like I said, I got 3 points that I shouldn't have gotten because of the Area Denial anyways. So no big deal. That those kind of things happen all the time. I do actually end up getting Discord messages on my turn 2 seeing that, but I had been on Joe's stream before, actually the previous LVO, where I got yelled at because there was a rules question that someone messaged me, I think the Sisters player is doing the rules wrong. And Joe yelled at me for checking my phone and being like, hey, this guy says you can't do that. And Joe yelled at me for that, understandably so. Joe does not want people to benefit from playing on his stream. And that is a completely respectable position to take. So even though I saw that Bloat Drones explode for 1, I saw the Discord messages, I had to pretend I didn't see it, and we were moving forward. So that's fine, because again, I agree with Joe. I should not be benefiting from playing on stream. So anyways, taking that, moving forward, the rest of the game comes down to it's turn 2. We both have pretty defensible positions. The problem is he kills all of my Raveners. And he has now killed a full Pyrovore squad. neither one of which are crazy expensive. Like, that's only 250 points of my army, but those are like pieces that normally can get me secondaries. So losing those feels pretty bad, and I basically have a choice. We are playing Ritual. So do I just maintain this defensive position where we're just both going to be chipping at each other, but I probably win because I have bottom of turn? Or do I apply pressure and just try and go for it and, we play a real game? And I elect for the latter, and the reason that I elect for that is because I do not feel confident about my secondary scoring game if I'm just playing defensively. My army is too slow that if I draw something like Engage, or I draw something like Behind Enemy Lines, or Establish Locus, I'm not going to be able to do it if I play defensively, because my guys move like 6 inches. And my Biovore to make Spore Mines is dead, and all I have is a single Pyrovore in outflank. I don't have Raveners anymore. My Lictor is currently on my back corner, where he had just heroically backwards into a bloat drone. So I'm not feeling confident about my secondary game at all, and because of that, I elect to just push out. So what this means is I am now exposing my entire army to this Death Guard army, and I don't even think I really kill anything. I just basically push my army into the center out of cover. And yeah, it does not go well for me. I end up getting... there is a line where Joe sits there and says, I love having Matt on stream because he's not like hyper upset. He's not hyper excited. You can't really tell what his emotional state is right now, but I'm looking at the board and it kind of looks like Matt's getting punched in the dick. And I just had to laugh at that comment because I absolutely was. I was just losing things left and right, and the dice had been amazing to me in round 4, and now they were not. It was just constantly just below what I needed on like every single roll, and Hans basically ends up being able to kill off the entirety of my Tyrant Guard away from my Hive Tyrant, and then his Brigand comes in from outflank, and his Thermal Spear just one-shots my Haruspex, which feels awful. And yeah, the Swarmlord ends up losing all of his Tyrant Guard. So both my Hive Tyrants are still alive, but their Tyrant Guard are now dead. My Zoanthropes, I lose like half of them. And basically, in this exchange, I do end up managing to kill Mortarion, which was nice. But I basically traded Mortarion for all my Zoanthropes and all of my Tyrant Guard, which is not the best trade. It's okay. I'm not really ever able to touch his cultists, which is super annoying because they're all on objectives and they're sticking these objectives. And so then when I shadow, I pop shadow in the warp and he fails everywhere. I think he has 3 models that are not battle shocked, but it doesn't matter because 2 of those 3 models get to do the secondaries that he needs that turn, and all of his objectives are sticky because of cultists, so he doesn't even lose a single primary point. So that was kind of frustrating in terms of just, I'm used to Shadow doing a lot more, and it should have, because again, he failed everywhere. But he was still able to max his secondary points and his primary points on that turn. And then on top of that, he basically has 1 bloat drone that is able to contest 2 of my objectives, which that's because I don't know why I had it stuck in my head that the objectives are 9 apart instead of 12. But that's the way we played this game, and so a single bloat drone was able to hold 2 of my objectives and like contest them from my 2 Venomthropes. So that sucked, and also probably shouldn't have happened. So a decent number of mistakes this game, but was a phenomenal game. And nothing against Hans, like I was messing this up just as much, if not more, than him. So that was, yeah. Anyways, it comes down to somehow, because I have bottom of turn and I managed to get a Pyrovore in his backfield that he essentially never turns around to deal with. This Pyrovore actually scores me a ton of secondary points that I, especially not having a Biovore, never would have been able to do if he just turned around and dealt with that Pyrovore like turn 3 when it came in. But because he doesn't do that, this Pyrovore just gets to sit there and score me a ton of points. And I have bottom of turn where I get to grab a 15 barely. And it basically came down to his turn 5, he draws Assassinate. And because he has my Neuro Tyrant is down to 4 in combat with the Brigand, and my I think my Swarmlord is already dead, and so he has I think he has a Plague Burst Crawler and like 3 Plague Marines that are attempting to kill my Hive Tyrant, who has like 4 wounds left, and then his Brigand is trying to kill my Neuro Tyrant, who has 4 wounds left. If he can do either of those, he wins the game. He is not able to do either of those, and so then I need 10 points on secondaries to tie. And I draw... I think it was 9 points on secondaries to tie. And I draw behind enemy lines, which I do manage to get... I know it was behind enemy lines. I ended up drawing Defend Stronghold, which like I had, but was not enough points to tie the game or win the game. So I tossed Defend Stronghold, and I think I got Overwhelming Force or something like that. I either had to... it was Storm Hostile. So my Hive Tyrant just had to kill a 2-wound Predator that was on the center, and then I take that objective, and I get Storm Hostile for 5. So it was that, plus my behind enemy lines, and I had... Oh, that's it. I had a Singular Ripper plus my Pyrovore managed to get me behind enemy lines for 4, and those 9 points end up getting me a draw. So I've done it. It was an 81-81 draw. Fantastic game, even though we kind of messed it up. But still, it doesn't matter. You mess up Warhammer 40k all the time. And we got a draw. Fantastic game. Both of us end up making it into top 16. Sorry, spoiler. But we both get draws, and then we both make it into the Shadow Round, which is fantastic. Fantastic job with Hans. Happy to play you anytime, and hopefully we get a few more rules right. But no worries there. Absolute props to him. Fantastic player, fantastic game. So I have now broken the curse. I am 4-0-1, which is better than 4-2. So I will take it. I've now broken the curse. Feeling pretty strong, and I am going into round 6. All right, so round 6.
Again, I am 4-0-1, broken the curse, and if I win my next game, there's a very decent chance of me going into the Shadow Round. And I get my next opponent, and it is Miles Engrav. He is playing Ultramarine Ironstorm, so this is something that I kind of expected to see. It is a slightly different version, but definitely, Ultramarine tanks is certainly an archetype I expected to see. The main difference here being that he has a double Storm Speeder to ignore cover or get extra AP, something like that. I don't remember exactly what Storm Speeders do, but it's something to do with extra AP shooting stuff. But going over his list, he's got, again, Ultramarine Ironstorm with Calgar. Of course, Calgar is... If you're playing Ultramarines, why would you not play Calgar? He is busted AF. He's better than Gilliman. Calgar is just so absolutely insane. But on top of that, you also have Gilliman. Gilliman with his new Ultramarine, you got double oath with the new +1 to wound oath. That seems pretty good to me. Then he's got a Tech Marine with the Adept of the Omnissiah. That's because he's playing Ironstorm, so I believe that is the blank damage once per round. And yeah, he just sits there and babysits tanks. He's got some Intercessors who infiltrate. Then he's got double Ballistas because Ironstorm. Company Heroes who go with Calgar, of course. That's what you do. It's a fantastic unit. Makes him -1 to wound and is just a absolute brick wall while Calgar punches through everything.
Then he's got a Gladiator Reaper. This is his massive anti-infantry tank. Then just some scouts for some secondaries. Then, like I said, double Storm Speeder. So he puts these in Deep Strike, and yeah, they just come in, do secondaries / give +1 AP to Vindicators or ignore cover to Vindicators. One of the two. Doesn't really matter. It essentially turns into the same thing. And then double Vindicator. Obviously, these guys are just insane. And he's got a Calidus, because why not? You need some secondaries? Got it. Need some Vect? Got it. Calidus is fantastic. Yeah, no notes on this list. It's a phenomenal list. And speaking of phenomenal, let's take a look at his models, because damn, Miles, these are gorgeous. Yeah, so I hope you like this picture. It's the only one I took of the entire game. But like I said, this game is on the Wargames live stream, so I will attempt to post the link to that as well, so you guys can go and watch it. However, like I said, they do kind of bounce back and forth between my game and the other one on stream. So I think you actually miss like the first 2 turns of this game because they're focused on the other stream for the vast majority of it. But then they do... the other game finishes really fast, so you basically get to see this one for the entirety of the second half of the game. All right, so anyways, gorgeous models. Miles has his entire army is painted as White Scars. So I know he's playing Ultramarines, but that's just because White Scar rules kind of suck. So I do not blame him for playing Ultramarines. They are far, far, far superior to White Scar in terms of rules, so why not just play your gorgeous White Scar army with good Ultramarine rules at LVO? Makes sense to me. Yeah, so awesome models. We are playing Terraform. So I have actually never played this mission before, which is funny because I've played like 60 games of Pariah Nexus at this point, and I'd never played Terraform before. But I knew that if you got first turn, you want to terraform as much as possible. So that's what I did. I deployed my entire army on the line, and I basically looked at it and I was like, Ultramarine Ironstorm. That might be one of the most deadly firepower, like the most killy armies in the game. But you know what? He's only got 2 Vindicators and a Reaper and 2 Ballistas. And his Hammer Strikes speeders are in reserve. I'm not afraid of this. And I deployed everything on the line. I got first turn, and I just shoved forward. So it was definitely just kind of I basically asked him, I'm like, I know you have a ridiculous damage output, but is it good enough? And I just shoved. And I actually, like I said, had never played Terraform before. So I was under the impression that as long as I started the Terraform action, as long as I was still alive on my next turn, then it would complete. So I just ran everyone forward and terraform on all 3 objectives and said, okay, good luck killing everything. I'm going to get at least something terraformed. And then we were informed, what you don't see, I have a Lictor in that ruin in the top left doing the terraform. But what I did not realize until basically, because like that was my entire turn. I moved forward, terraform, shot a spore mine, said your turn, and then that was it. Beginning of his movement phase, he starts moving some scouts onto the objective, and I all of a sudden was like, okay, hold on, I do still terraform, right? You have to kill me. It doesn't matter if I hold the objective in my next command phase, does it? And he's like, no, if I hold it, then you don't terraform. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Can I take this back real quick then? Because one of my secondaries was cleanse. Can I just terraform the center and I will cleanse the 2 on the sides? Because if all you have to do is walk forward to stop it, like there's obviously you're gonna do that. You don't even have to advance. You literally just have to walk onto these objectives and you take it away from me. So I will just cleanse instead. And Miles was kind enough to allow me to do that. So I got 4 points on cleanse and I only terraformed the center. importantly, he could have advanced Calgar onto the center to take that from me and stop me from terraforming, but that would have put Calgar in front of my entire army. He elected not to do that and instead to fire all the Vindicators at the center and basically try and shoot me off. This was unsuccessful. So basically, Miles turn 1, he puts the scouts on the bottom right, takes it away from me. He moves the ballistas and shoots my Lictor off of the off of the top left, and then everything else pushes to the center because he's Iron Storm, so he can advance and shoot. And basically everything else pushes forward to where it can see the Hive Tyrant and Tyrant Guard on the center, unloads his entire army, and I believe kills 5 Tyrant Guard. So I have 1 Tyrant Guard left, I think on 3 wounds, is what I'm remembering. But he does not kill the Hive Tyrant, and more importantly, doesn't even kill the Tyrant Guard unit, so I actually get to bring a Tyrant Guard back as well. And then from there, so that the center is now terraformed. I'm getting 2 points guaranteed on primary every single turn for the rest of the game, no matter what. So that feels awesome. And then it is my turn 2, and I don't have a whole lot to do, but basically Swarmlord swings around to the bottom, kills the 5 scouts that was on the objective, takes it back. My Hive Tyrant on the center, I don't remember I think he charges, he charges the Vindicator. So the Vindicator on the top right in this picture, like I said, came down to where it could see me and shoot me. So the Hive Tyrant went forward and charged that. And then the Haruspex came forward and charged the Ballistas, and I think actually kills it. I did definitely pop lethal on 5s, but that was kind of cool. I don't think I expected him to kill it. I did expect to damage it, but good job, Haruspex. And I don't think I was able to do anything else. My Zoanthropes kind of pushed forward a little bit, but weren't able to get a line on anything. Or maybe they shot the Vindicator that the Hive Tyrant charged. Either way, the Vindicator was definitely still alive. I didn't even do significant damage to it. It was fine. It might have been like 1 blast went through and then he blanked it with a Tech Marine. That's probably what happened with Zoanthropes. But anyways, then it was his turn, and he manages to finish off the remainder of the Tyrant Guard from my Hive Tyrant. I believe Gilliman joins the combat, and Calgar goes and charges Swarmlord. And after shooting and everything, so he shoots Swarmlord and the Tyrant Guard with the Vindicators, manages to kill all of the Tyrant Guard between the shooting and charging Calgar in. But Swarmlord is still alive, I think with like 3 wounds left. So then it is my turn again, and at this point, I have both Hive Tyrants, but both are wounded, and I've lost all my Tyrant Guard. But Swarmlord's in combat with Calgar. He ends up falling back onto the objective. My Hive Tyrant stays in combat with the Vindicator. The Haruspex stickies his objective, comes down to join the Hive Tyrant in combat with that Vindicator, / Gilliman. The Hive Tyrant's in combat with Gilliman, too. But not entirely sure I'm able to really do any damage past this point. No. I know both Vindicators are still alive. Oh, he brought some speeders in, and I was able to kill the 2 speeders. Raveners, I know, had to charge one where that Ripper is on the center left. He basically had a speeder deep strike in there, and the Raveners were able to go and kill that. But my turn 3, I have all 3 objectives in the center still. He hasn't been able to come forward and take any of them for the entire game. He's been able to deny some of it from me, but not take it for himself. And then I think I pop Shadows just to deny even more primary. And essentially what this game boils down to is, yes, he does kill me. He basically tables me. But I don't kill much more than this. I don't even think I kill off all of the company heroes. I don't kill Gilliman. I think I kill a Vindicator by the end of the game. But yeah, he definitely still has the Reaper. I think he still has 1 Ballistas. He still has a Vindicator. He has his Marines on his home objective. And he has Gilliman, but Gilliman is at least wounded. By turn 4, he's finally got me mostly tabled, but I'm ahead by again, like 40-something points because he just hasn't been able to get any primary, and I've had board control this entire game while he's just kind of stuck in his deployment zone. He does eventually break through, but it's turn 4, and I have enough left on the table that I'm still scoring, at least like a hold 10, because I'll have my home in the top left, and there's just not much he can do about that. So by turn 5, he actually ends up secret missioning because he has 0 primary points. Not very many. I think he had 14 primary points, 10 of which were from turn 4. So he had 4 primary points, ends up secret missioning, gets 10 more points on turn 4, and then his secret mission was actually, I think, hold 3 objectives. I was assuming it was get your warlord on my home objective, and Gilliman does that, but that ends up being one of the 3 objectives that he holds. So he holds the bottom right, the center, and my home at the end of the game and scores his 20 points for the secret mission. But I still am ahead by like 16 is how the game ends up finishing. I am basically tabled. I think I have my Biovore, I have a couple Pyrovores and a Psychophage I think left. But everything else is dead. And I think I have a Haruspex left alive, but he's just kind of out of position up at the top. So that's how I remember the game finishing. Like I said, you can go watch it on the GW stream. Would love it if you do that. Let me know what you guys think. And so I end up finishing, and I am 5-0-1. And we get to go... I'm 5-0-1. I'm undefeated after 6 rounds of LVO. And I've definitely broken the curse now. And on top of that, I am looking at potentially getting into top 16 for the Shadow Round. I already kind of spoiled it earlier, but at this point in time, there are 15 undefeated players, and Hans and myself are 5-0-1. So one of us is going to make it into the Shadow Round. And it comes entirely down to opponent win game percentage. And the judges end up calling me over, and they let me know I'm in. I beat out Hans on opponent game win percentage by 4 points. Or like 4 percentage points. So congratulate Hans on that. Very well done. But I end up barely making it into the Shadow Round. And then two of the undefeated guys end up dropping because they have flights. So because they end up dropping, Hans ends up getting into the top 16 as well. And then on top of that, Don Husin, who is actually 5-0-1, ends up making it into the Shadow Round as well. Now we go on to Game 7. All right, so round 7. I am paired into none other than Josh Roberts. Number 1 ITC player, winner of multiple super majors over across the pond, game designer for GW. Pretty cool dude, honestly. Very happy I got to meet him and talk with him. I actually, there's stuff all over the internet about him, both good and bad. Having met him in person, hung out with him, played a game against him, he's a great guy. I'm actually really excited that he is part of the community that is balancing the game. He seems to have the correct mindset for it, and so discount all the bad crap that the internet says. He's a great guy. Very happy to have played him. So let's look into this. LVO Ultramarines. Oh, look at that. I just played Ultramarines, but this is a Gladius instead of an Ironstorm. But let's take a look at this list. So he's got a Captain in Gravis armor with the Artificer armor enhancement. So this guy is, according to Josh himself, said that this is just a mini Catan for 90 points. And yes, that is accurate, because he halves damage, he has a 4-up invuln, he's crazy. Crazy durable. He doesn't join anyone. He's literally just a guy that walks around doing secondaries and is basically unkillable. Then he has a lieutenant with combi weapon. This guy also does not join anyone. He is just a dude that is there to do secondaries, and he has reactive moves to run away and loan up. So That's how he survives. Then, of course, you've got Calgar. Hey, look, it's Calgar again. Hey, look, it's Gilliman again. It's almost like these guys are really good, and people play Ultramarines because of these guys. Obviously, Calgar is joining a squad of company heroes, just as you do. Then you have Gilliman, because again, turns out double oath with +1 to wound oath is really good. Some assault intercessors, just nice cheap guys that actually hit okay for their points. Double ballistas, that looks familiar. Gladiator Reaper, that looks familiar. Incursors, hey look, more guys that block deep strike. Infiltrators, they infiltrate. And 1, 2, 3 Vindicators. That's fun. So basically, pretty much identical to the previous list, except instead of a Calidus and double Speeder, he has a third Vindicator and cool characters. So I'm honestly looking at this and I'm like, you know what? Last guy was Ironstorm, and I deployed on the line, and he just couldn't kill me. So this is pretty much the same list. Maybe I just deploy on the line and he can't kill me. Is kind of my thought going into this. Plus, it's round 7. We're now playing at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm really tired. So let's not get fancy with it. Let's deploy on the line. And that's what I did. So yeah, here we are. Here's the deployment. As you can see, I deployed on the line. And yeah, he kind of matched me, also deployed on the line, but he has a small enough force. He's a little more able to hide than I am. So he is deployed on the line, but he is definitely a little more hidden. You see Gilliman in the center, but he's got Lone Op because he's next to another Lone Op. Maybe this was 9th edition. I didn't think Lone Ops could confer Lone Op, but they do. That was definitely a 9th edition thing. So yeah, you've got a Lone Op Lieutenant giving Gilliman Lone Op. That's fun. And yeah, you just have Vindicators everywhere, Reaper everywhere, Ballistas in the center and at the top right. And in the bottom right... Oh, no, sorry. That's actually the unkillable dude that's next to Gilliman. The bottom right has the Lieutenant and... I think that's the Incursors. It's one of the generic troops. Scouts in the center, just kind of screening me out a little bit, but not really. Just kind of pushing forward, ready to see, and then we roll for first turn. Actually, wait a second. This game was not on stream, so I actually have it scored on my phone. So we're playing Scorched Earth, and Josh ends up getting the first turn. So he draws Engage on All Fronts and Secure No Man's Land. That's kind of perfect for him when you have top of 1 and you have guys that infiltrated. So he basically is able to just push the scouts forward, score Engage on All Fronts, and secure No Man's Land. Hey, look at that. The scouts walked on that objective, and his lieutenant walked on the bottom right. And then he pushed forward, or he's able to advance the Vindicator down to the center, and he's essentially able to fire... he puts 3 Vindicators essentially where Gilliman is. All 3 Vindicators are essentially able to form a line right there and shoot at my Hive Tyrant. So, yeah, he's able to shoot at my Hive Tyrant, and he manages to kill the entire Tyrant Guard squad turn 1 because he did not roll below a 5 for a number of shots on all 3 Vindicators. And, yep, that was fun. So... the Hive Tyrant was untouched himself, but yeah, losing an entire Tyrant Guard squad without the ability to regenerate on the top of 1 is pretty rough, but that is what happened. So that was his turn 1. He manages to score 5 on Secure No Man's Land and 2 on Engage on All Fronts. Then we go into my turn 1, and yeah, I'm kind of forced to just push forward. And sorry, it was not my Hive Tyrant who lost all his Tyrant Guard. It was Swarmlord who lost all his Tyrant Guard. Looks like just from 2 Vindicators. So I apologize. It was not getting a line with Gilliman and shooting down at that Hive Tyrant. He had 2 Vindicators up at the top who were able to get a line on Swarmlord, and 2 Vindicators managed to kill 6 Tyrant Guard through 6-up Feel No Pain and Stealth and Cover. Well, not Stealth, but Cover. Okay, cool. Seems good. But yeah, my turn 1, I can't really do anything other than just push up. So that's what I do. I push forward, and my Zoanthropes came out, and they shot at the Vindicator and did like nothing. I think I did maybe 3 or 4 wounds. Yeah, I mean, he had a 2-up and he had cover, so he was saving on 4s. He might have even just saved all of them. That's actually, I'm pretty sure that's what he did. I think I did 4 wounds to him, and he just made all 4 4-ups. So I did not do a wound with the Zoanthropes. And yeah, actually, I even advanced the Pyrovores forward to strip cover from him. So I think those were even 5-ups, and I think he just rolled 4 5-ups. I remember that now. That was definitely what happened. So that's fun. Yeah. But I had drawn no prisoners and engage on all fronts. I don't remember what I did kill, but it must have just been scouts or something, because I definitely didn't kill a vehicle. But I got a small engage because I shot a spore mine. And yeah, that was... I'm assuming that this picture was taken halfway through my turn 1, and like Swarmlord charged and killed 5 scouts or something like that. That seems reasonable. So yeah, I got 2 points for no prisoners, 2 points for engage. So currently at the end of turn 1, Josh is up 7-4. Then we go into his turn 2. He holds 2 objectives. He holds his home and the bottom right for 10 points. And then he draws Containment and Overwhelming Force. If you're looking at the board right now, that seems pretty easy to do. So this infantry unit in the bottom right, they walk down to the corner, and this is the diagonal deployment. So they stand literally on that diagonal line where the unit is wholly outside of his deployment zone, but they are within 9 of his table edge. And then his lone op lieutenant is also within 9 of the other table edge. So in this picture, what he ends up containing is with those 2 units in the bottom right corner, he does his table edge, so the right one and the bottom one is the 2 edges that he ends up doing containment on, being just outside of his deployment zone, literally as close as you can get. He's basically standing on his line. So that was cool. A free 6 points for those 2 units who weren't doing anything anyways. And then on top of that, he drew Overwhelming Force, which is kill units on objectives. And so yeah, he killed units on objectives. He got 5 points. I don't remember what he killed, but he definitely killed stuff. Trying to look at it, what have I lost? Looks like I lost a Haruspex. Yeah. Haruspex is dead. And probably killed like a Ripper or something. So, yeah, that was his turn. He scores 11 more secondary points because 6 on Containment, 5 on Overwhelming Force. Pretty good. We then go into my turn 2, and that's what you see here. So I draw Bring It Down and Sabotage. So I elect for the Pyrovores, or maybe the Psychophage. One of those guys has to start Sabotage in that ruin just left of the center objective. And then I have Bring It Down. So I got to try and kill these Vindicators. I've got 2 of them right in my face, 1 in the center, 1 on the top center. So Swarmlord and a Lictor, and actually I definitely lied, there is a Haruspex in that ruin. All 3 of them charge that Vindicator, trying to bring that down. And then I have Zoanthropes with the Pyrovores, try and bring down the Vindicator in the center. And yeah, I think actually the Pyrovores move forward and flame the Vindicator, and then the Psychophage goes into the ruin and starts Sabotage, is what I'm remembering. And I fail. I do not kill either Vindicator, so I get a 0 on Bring It Down. So that's fun. I don't remember what they lived at, but I do not kill either one of them. And yeah, then we get into Josh's turn 3. So it looks like actually my Walking Tyrant pushed up to charge in as well. Maybe this is turn 4, but essentially I did not kill either Vindicator, and so for turn 3, Josh just pops the Tactical Doctrine, so his Vindicators can fall back and shoot. Not that they would have had much penalty anyways, but he wants to be able to throw all of his stuff into me, not just the Vindicators. So he pops Tactical Doctrine, falls back to shoot, gets a 10 on his primary again, and I'm not even showing what he drew for secondaries, because if you look at the state of the table, I'm already dead and I've killed nothing. So we basically already kind of just called it here. We might have even gone to time. I don't remember. Not that it mattered. We were taking a very leisurely pace because we were told there was not a time limit and it was super late at night. And so we were just kind of chatting, having a good time, and not hurrying at all because we were told we had all the time in the world. And then randomly we had a judge come by and say, hey guys, you have 15 minutes left. But this was the state of the table when that happened. So yeah, not really sure. They need to get on the same page because someone told us that we had all the time in the world and then suddenly we didn't. Again, state of the table shows it doesn't matter. I'm dead. I have not killed a single tank. Whereas, yeah, the dice are just not cooperating. I'm not killing anything. Josh is rolling fantastic. And yeah, I'm unable to do anything. Basically, he got to shoot me turn 1, and then my turn 1 was walk forward. And then he got to shoot me turn 2. And then my turn 2 was charge in, try and kill Vindicators. I failed. And then he falls back and he shoots me with his entire army again, turn 3. And now I don't have anything left to, even though I do make my charges, I'm not able to really do anything. Yeah, so I apologize, guys, that this is Josh Roberts. He's a great player, and, you know, he ends up winning ITC for this season. So I apologize I'm not able to give him a good game, but it was really, like, it's not even necessarily that I was outplayed, although Josh played phenomenally. It's more just the dynamics of these armies. He got to go first, and like I said, he rolled slightly better than my previous opponent, Miles, where Miles shot me with everything and left one Tyrant Guard alive for me to start being able to heal. And Josh just rolled really hot and killed me to the point where I literally never got to heal this entire game, really anything. So just shows that little bit of difference in list construction. Having that third Vindicator obviously helps a ton. But yeah, it was just the difference of him being able to just get past the damage threshold, whereas my previous, basically same list was not able to. And then on top of that, in my previous game, I got first turn and I got to establish board control, whereas in this game, he got first turn and basically got to shoot me for 2 turns before I even got to touch him. And then he gets to shoot me for a 3rd turn while he's still basically undamaged. And yeah, I basically have nothing left. I did not get to complete my sabotage action, so I don't know, or maybe I did and I just didn't score it. But in my thing, it's a blank. But essentially, the points didn't matter because it's single elimination. It's just win-loss. So we just kind of looked at the board. We were told we had 15 minutes left, and we're like, well, yeah, obviously Josh has won this game. So we called it here. But yeah, anyways, that was my LVO. Even though that last game was kind of a complete blowout, I was very satisfied with how I did. Like I said, broke the curse, made it into Shadow Round. My goal, like my lifetime goal, was make top 8 at LVO.
I didn't make top 8, but I made Shadow Round, so I'm incredibly happy with that. And who knows, maybe I make top 8 next year. Even if I don't, very satisfied with this. Thank you for sticking around for this ridiculously long me rambling about LVO, but I hope you enjoyed. I will have a real tournament battle report coming out soon. Like I said, I went to another tournament in Wichita, Kansas about a month after this and brought basically the same list. What I dropped was the Zoanthrope and Neurotyrant brick, and that became a Rupture Cannon, Tyrannifex, and second Haruspex. Other than that, the list is the same, and I hope you guys enjoy that one as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.